everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the history of I'm A Speedrunner. My name is Nintendo Gen 64, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about all of 2011's tournaments. So that's I'm A Speedrunner 4, I'm A Speedrunner 5, and I'm A Speedrunner 6. And to help me delve into these topics, I have 3 guests today, and they are... There we go, CrystalFissure.
Firstly, I'm not a guest, okay?
ConorDavid
I'm
and
not
Al
a guest.
Molloy. No, sorry, I don't know where you are. No, CrystalFissure is obviously my co-host of the ISGP, but as I'm the one sort of running the ship here, you are kind of my guest. But
He's captaining it. He is the captain now.
We have CrystalFissure, who appeared in I'm A Speedrunner. Were you in 5? You were in 5, yes.
I was in 4, 5, and 6, yes.
You were in 4, 5, and 6. Al Molloy was only in 6, I think. You weren't in 4 or 5.
Nope. I was in 5 and 6, not in 4.
You were in 5. I don't remember you in 5.
Yeah, my 5. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about, there we go. I love it. We're already setting
5.
the stage. And we have ConorDavid, who was in 6.
Yes.
Just 6. But you did sign up for 5.
Yeah.
That is a common...
I signed for as a replacement, but yeah.
Yes, that's right.
In
So,
6.
first of all, I'd just like to say we had a tremendous response to our first episode. I was blown away with the just the amount of interaction in the comment section. We had people who used to be members of the community sort of reaching out and saying that they had a great time listening to it, and you know, the views were pretty high too. I was surprised this many people would be interested in this topic, because it seemed like, you know, this was something that you know, the few of us who were around at the time, who are still around, would watch. But yeah, the general audience seemed to be really keen. So I'm excited to get into today's topic. So the first thing I would like to talk about, guys, and this is something we kind of touched upon, or someone we kind of touched upon in the first part, is the co-host of the very first I'm A Speedrunner, Mr. 100% Gamer, because he was a huge member of the community for a good number of years, and has sort of vanished ever since. He hasn't really been around since 2012. So I thought we'd do a little bit of a competitor spotlight and talk about our good friend John, aka Mr. 100% Gamer, and maybe share some memories. So I might start with CrystalFissure on this one. What do you remember of Mr.
What do I remember about John? Well, I wanted to say firstly that we actually didn't point out who won IAS3. And that was actually Crash 4 and 596. Mr. 100% Gamer, the man himself, actually got 4th place. And, you know, he was originally considered the winner of that tournament, but it actually changed later on. Do you remember this?
I do. I'm remembering that he, for some reason, couldn't record his runs at the same time as everyone else, and there was
He had a power outage.
He had a power outage or something.
Yeah. He had a power failure on the day.
Yeah, and there was a delay between his ability to record the run. So he actually had an extra 2 weeks, and technically won I'm A Speedrunner 3, but yeah, it wasn't counted. Yes, go on, CrystalFissure.
Wait, really?
But yes. I'll pass it on to Al, because I talk to him every now and then. And I thought he was a pretty nice guy, but very much sort of in a different circle of the community to me, you know. But yeah, very much. I think that we gave him a lot of credit, you know, in the first episode, but I think it's great to know that it really wouldn't have happened without him. Truly, I think that's where I'll leave it at.
That's right. We do talk about Ratchet 5 a fair bit. You know, we talk about Ratchet 5 as the community leader, the king of the community, the one who had all the pull. But yeah, for those first few years, Mr. 100% Gamer was definitely a big looming figure. So I'll throw over to Al Molloy, and maybe you can give us a little bit of insight on the man himself, the enigma.
Yes, gladly. Yeah, John was very much an integral part of why everything came to be, and I remember he and Ratchet, he used to chide Ratchet a bit, oh yeah, this is really, I'm A Speedrunner is really my thing type of deal with. He's kind of, in a way, kind of right, because he did think of it in the first place. But yeah, I have, anyway, great memories of John. He's a great guy, great conversations. As Andrew alluded to, it was a group, me, Bionicle, John, Christian, Luke. We were the British meanies with 2 T's, as stated in episode 1, due to a misspelling by the Saggers 1097. And yeah, he was great. You know, he was a good speedrunner too. He was a great Let's Player. He had some really entertaining Let's Plays, which he then ended up hating. He was a perfectionist, and he hated his LPs. He deleted them all from his channel. He then let someone do an archive of his LPs. And to me, they still stand the test of time as just being genuinely enjoyable, watchable LPs. So yeah, of course he then just decided that he was kind of done with, I guess, this kind of like community or whatever, and he went on to become, I think, a great game developer too. So yeah, hats off to him. It was a pleasure to know him, and hope he's doing well.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And my big
that's
thing
him.
with John too was I always looked up to him as a bit of a voice of reason in the community. I always thought of him as, if you had if you thought someone had a bad take, you could kind of go to him and he'd verify if they had a bad take or not. He was very much kind of what you ended up becoming, Al. I think very much you took his place in that kind of role as like the kind of sort of slightly older, more like reasonable kind of guy, more mature man, I would say.
Hmm.
I think
I don't know if
that's
all of those adjectives. I don't know if all those adjectives pertain to me, but I appreciate the sentiment
well. I mean, you're
nonetheless.
slightly older
Yeah, you
than us,
fucking
but
kiss ass. You absolute
Yeah.
kiss ass here. Yeah.
But no, I appreciate that,
so
Angus. But
he was really
yeah.
integral, I guess, in hosting, I guess, the first 3 to 4 I'm a Speedrunner tournaments. Definitely by the time I'm a Speedrunner 3 happened, I think the drama aspect of the community was something he wasn't really interested in. So
Yeah.
by the time I'm a Speedrunner 4 came around, Ratchet 5 had basically complete control of it. Although it's interesting to me because we're going to talk about this in a second, but I'm a Speedrunner 4 was the first and only Ratchet and Clank tournament. And it's a very interesting choice that it was a
Yes.
Ratchet and Clank tournament, and I think a decision that was made around this time to make it a Ratchet and Clank tournament definitely did play a certain, like, it affected the community in a way because I think a lot of us weren't really Ratchet and Clank fans. And instead of capitalizing on the success of a very popular tournament in I'm a Speedrunner 3, he kind of took a niche route and went with Ratchet and Clank, which I think was probably, in hindsight, a dumb idea. I don't know.
But I think the reason was I think there may have been a vote on before in I'm a Speedrunner 3 to decide what game was going to be done, and I believe Ratchet and Clank came second in that vote, and
Hi
sort of decided
guys,
on
it's
that basis
Ratchet.
that because Spyro won the vote and Ratchet and Clank got second, that they'd have it where Ratchet and Clank would be IS4 because it came second in the vote.
Yeah, that's right. And I've got the this is the sign up video here for the Ratchet and Clank tournament, and it's interesting because I'll just go through the I'll bring up the comment section. This is a new feature of today's episode. We have, oops, 1 second. That is I'm a Speedrunner 4. You can see that's the draw times there. We'll talk about those momentarily. Don't you worry. But I
Hi
better pause it
guys.
before it goes. But yeah, we've got like these are the kind of like the people that signed up. So Fromond, obviously, for some reason he would just sign up to everything, even whether or not he played it. He says, "For once, I stand a chance of making it to round 2." He did not. He did not make it to round 2. And then
No.
Oron Super 95 signed up. I'm not a Doctor 5 signed up. Desert Monkey said, "Don't expect me to shop for this one." That's a big omission. When you get Desert Monkey not signing up for your tournament,
Fighting words.
that's a problem. We've got a really
Yep.
big problem here.
We've got a real big problem here.
Mr. 100% Gamer was in it. Lobster, Finland Boy, says, "I can join. Do I need to send you a split screen video?" I don't know why. What the heck is this? They did a bad job of coming off. They both comment on the channel, comments helping him out, which pointed a huge possibility that it was both. What the heck is that in regards to?
I don't even know.
That's-
No
I want to
idea.
point out. I think that what Finland Boy Lobster is referring to is the fact that you had to prove that you could split screen. I think Ratchet had this prerequisite of some kind.
Yeah,
to-
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that was the case back in the day.
Oh,
yeah.
and look at this.
Yeah.
This is something ominous. Sorry, I didn't realize I was logged in as CB Speedruns. That was me.
Oh,
Oh, Angus.
So
that
I think it's time, guys. I think it's time to talk about CB Speedruns. I think
Okay, and just right before that, I just wanted to add that this is not the first time, because Connor, you just mentioned about having a vote. This is not the first time where something's given a vote, and then we kind of go like, oh, "Why did we let people vote?" Because they don't know what they want, and that really ties into stuff much later. So if you're a viewer that is going to watch every second of this, remember that sort of phrase and that sort of comments. And you realize that is exactly why we got IAS4. But you know.
Exactly.
Go
Now,
ahead.
so I was the story I'm setting up here is that I'm a Speedrunner 4 was a Ratchet and Clank tournament. Now, up to this point, the tournaments were all just games that were easily emulatable on your PlayStation emulator, like EPSX, EPSX Fin, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. Super easy. If you were clever enough to be able to do like PlayStation 2 speedruns or whatever, you could do it. But most of the people did PS1 games. So then this comes around, and then it's like, well, geez, if you want to be in this, you have to have a capture card, or you have to have like a DVR recorder or something. There's no way you're going to get in. So there was talk around this time that there was going to be another Crash Bandicoot tournament. We were talking about preliminary discussions in 2011, that the tournaments of that year would be we'd do a tournament in April, and then we'd do a Crash Bandicoot tournament in mid-year, and then another Spyro tournament at the end of the year. But a gentleman by the name of Meckle Monsieur was quite good at Crash Bandicoot, and he didn't want to wait till July to prove his point. So he created the Crash Dash tournament, which we're going to talk about right now. This is where we're going to introduce the topic of other people hosting tournaments outside of the realms of IAS, and we used to dub these the Me Too tournaments. But CrystalFissure, I think that was a very unfair terminology we gave them. And could you please maybe shed a bit of light on the concept of Me Tooism and these other tournaments? And we're not talking about Me Too as in the gender equality movement that happened recently. We're talking about the Me Too tournament. So I'll let CrystalFissure get this one off his chest.
So once again, I seem to be playing the role of the time traveler and say that there are two distinct eras of Me Too tournaments. We're going to be covering the first sort of crop. So we're not going to be covering, for example, World Cup speedruns, old school speedruns. I'm a noob runner. They're going to be discussed later, potentially in other things. The Me Too terminology was actually came up with by Ratchet 5 as an edit on the I'm A Speedrunner 8 wiki, somewhere between when those tournaments were going on. So basically, he was the one that came up with that terminology much later. Around the time of these tournaments that we're about to talk about, they really had no name, but much like he would suggest, people just seem to, they already had that disadvantage going in. There was already kind of this level of, I guess, disdain towards these tournaments because they weren't hosted by, IAS/Ratchet 5. And so that really kind of got them off on the wrong foot, I think. I don't know if you guys agree, but I just feel like they were never given a chance, but then at the same time, maybe they were right to be, at least in the first era, when you think about what ended up happening.
Exactly. Now this is oops, one sec. Aha, there we go. Yeah, CB Speedruns. This was the infamous Crash Dash tournament. Now, Al Molloy could probably tell us.
Crash Bunny Spyro 12 made that, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
I think Rapid Wombat JR made that actually.
Oh, I thought it was Bandy.
CB
my bad.
Speedruns. Let me see if I can zoom it out a bit. There we go. That's a bit better. CB Speedrun. So this was the logo for the Crash Dash tournament. Very confusing because we kept calling it CB Speedruns, but that was the channel it was hosted on. The tournament was called Crash Dash. So just before we really delve into it, let's just quickly just explain that it was a non-IAS Crash Bandicoot tournament that was apparently hosted by Al Molloy and Meckle Monsieur. And you can see here, if I can scroll out a bit, there we go. It was apparently due to run in March 2011, and it's sort of like, we don't have concrete dates here, what's going on? But what does it say? The tournament had different setup to IAS. Instead of a single elimination tournament, this one was double, meaning that if you lost in round 1, you would move on to another group made of other defeated people. Now, I remember a certain Nintendo Gen 64 having a big problem with that, but we'll talk about that. Because if you lose already,
I don't see what the point is. Sorry.
So the people who signed up, look at this crop of people who signed up though. Crash Bandicoot Spyro 12, Mr. 100% Gamer, the Stick Kid, I'm Not a Dr. 5, Meckle, Spike Stuff, my brother, Stan Scooby, me, Al, Mayo Doctor, Ronnie, that guy, Mal Club 2, and then these random people, Gamer NGF, one of the only tournaments he would ever sign up to, this guy, Gamer NGF, Jake, and then so on and so. Look at this. Look at this
It should be
list of...
stated, by the way, because we left it off where Bandy and I hated each other. There was all this drama. By this stage, everything was fine. Bandy was in Minor Meckles tournament, so I just want to clarify. Fissure actually had an intervention with Bandy and I for that. Do you remember that?
Oh, God, I have not thought about that since that day. Holy
Yeah.
shit! Yes, I do remember that. It was like 2 a.m. at
Yep.
night.
Yes, it
By
was
the
very
way.
late for you. And
I
I
always
remember,
remember the community was
I
at
got
its
no
best when
sleep.
you and Bandy didn't despise each other, because there were so many
Yeah.
Bandy-centric
I agree.
calls that had to happen, and it was like, oh god, we can't have Al here. It'd be great to have Al here, but we can't have him there. But yeah, so I mean, like, so this Crash Dash thing was happening. It was announced actually before IAS4, because I think the idea was to you kind of wanted to get the jump on it a little bit, because I think it's clever, because you would have realized that people didn't really want to join I'm a Speedrunner 4 because it was Ratchet Clank. So you set up CB Speedruns, you set up Crash Dash. And the other thing too with this one was it was hosted by Meckle Monsieur. Now, he
Yep.
was a relatively minor player in I'm a Speedrunner 3. I think he made it to like the quarterfinals. But then afterwards, he really kind of became a close confidant, especially of yours and mine now. Like, I became really quite close to him because we were similar ages, and CrystalFissure was like not as online. So really, my
Yeah.
close core group of people was Meckle Monsieur, Al, Ratchet 5, Bandy, and then the British meanies as a whole. So,
Yep.
I mean, how did you become friends with this guy?
I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie, I do not remember at all. If I had to guess, I'd say something to do with Skype messages, maybe. Well, I wish I could tell you. This is where, and this will preface some of the future podcasts. There are times where my memory is very hazy, but what I will say is I'll underline that yes, I remember calls with Angus and Meckle. I remember Angus. Yeah, I have to mention this because it's so funny. There was the practice race that me, you, and Meckle were doing in, I think, in Crash 2, and you said something to the effect of, I wonder if anyone in the community has ever, consummated a relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
I
One
do
of
remember
Angus's
that. I do.
earliest, like, I remember it was me, I think Rabbit was there, Michael, we just burst out laughing. It was like one of your, like, early, but, like, it was a funny moment, but it was, like, funny for everyone. Like, we all found it funny, you found it funny. It was, yeah, so,
Look, I was a real
yeah.
dweeb back at that time. Like, you can confirm this. Like, I was. People
Yeah, he
liked
was,
me,
yeah.
but I never really got why. Maybe it was just because I was just
You're
there
like,
all the time.
You're online.
because you're a nice guy at the end of the day, like you're a nice guy who, had the crack, you're in the calls, and I think it's because of just comments like that. It was just, yeah, this is why I called you that era Mormon Angus, because it's like this innocent, like, I don't know, like very, because you know how Mormon are very smiley, happy people,
Yeah.
very nice, and like what they would make that
Dark
kind of
underbelly.
comment about the idea, yeah, right, the idea of like having intercourse, like that was your Mormon Angus phase. It was, yeah, it was fun. So
And it's also great to pinpoint that, to then point out, when you make the jump, so to speak,
Yeah.
into borderline the complete opposite. I mean,
yes.
Yes.
just watch us during an episode of AEW Dark. Like
Yes.
it's complete anarchy on the other side now. That version of you is basically unrecognizable. I listened to some stuff today, and it's literally I do not even recognize how this is the same person.
No, I
Even your cadence, everything about how
and I
you
never
speak.
swore either. I never swore. I made that a point to, like, I would never say fuck. Mostly because
Yes.
at the time I was in calls in my parents' house, and they would just be like, if they heard me swearing, it'd be game over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
So, but anyway, I mean, how did you come to like host a Crash Bandicoot tournament with this guy though? I don't understand that.
Well, I do remember a little bit more of that. I
Because you
think
don't like Crash
so.
Bandicoot. You didn't even sign up for your own tournament.
Uh,
Oh
what
wait,
are
yes,
ta-
you did.
what
You
are
did
talking
sign up.
about?
Sorry.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, obvious.
Like
Exposed.
Mormon,
No,
I better sign up.
right. Well, yeah. Like, exactly. Well, to be fair, yeah. But no, I do like Crash Bandicoot. Not as much as Spyro, but I do like it quite a bit. I'm not one of those people who's like really like one way or the other. But anyway, point being is that Michael and I evidently we were friends, and I think with the Ratchet and Clank tournament, I remember specifically being like, yeah, I'm not like I haven't played Ratchet and Clank. I really want to do because I don't forget I'd not been in a Crash Bandicoot tournament. Like that was to me a big novelty, and I don't think a lot of other people had either because I wasn't around for IAS2. So I really wanted to do a Crash Bandicoot tournament and didn't want to wait for so long. So Meckel wanted to do one too. I think he probably had the idea first to do a
And he was good
tournament, and then
at
I was
Crash
like,
too. That was his thing. He was really good at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was, and I think it was Meckel who then, yeah, he came up with the CB speedruns. I assume, I guess, that maybe we both did, but it was definitely us two in tandem. He made the announcement video. Ratchet, if I recall correctly, was totally fine with it. He didn't mind. Like I'm pretty sure I remember saying to him like, "Yo, can we do this?" And he had no issues. And yeah, that was it. And I'll never forget Meckel's announcement video where he's like, "It's a double elimination stagger tournament." Like I just remember those words just
Yeah.
like ringing in my ears about it.
I remember it too. Now I'm just gonna quickly go onto his channel because I wonder. I don't think it's still there. I remember that the video had like a bunch of like annotations on it. Like I remember it was like heavily annotated video, and I highly
So much history's gone because of this. The annotation thing killed like entire channels.
yeah. It doesn't
sucks.
look like it's still up there, which is a shame. Which it would have been nice to show that video because that's the problem with the CB speedrun stuff is that there's no footage of it all. It's all in your memory. I can't show any of this stuff that we're talking about right now.
Right.
So unless you were there at the time, you don't remember it. But I do know that CB speedruns was happening at the same time as IAS4. Meckel was in both tournaments, right? I signed up to the tournament. Now, look, I can poke fun at myself. I can do that. That's no problem. But there is a certain video out there. One of the only remaining videos, I'm pretty sure, from the CB Speedruns tournament. And I'm just going to play just a bit of it because it's one of those time capsules. And I just want to see, like, let's just have a look at this. I think Al knows the one I'm talking about. So
Yes, I do.
this is a race between me and Meckel Monsieur from the CB Speedruns, the Crash Dash tournament. This is going to implicate me as a big crybaby loser, but I'm okay with doing
Oh
that.
yes, this
We all
one.
know this.
So let's take a look, shall we, at this video.
No. Okay, you win, I'm quitting.
You're quitting! Are you shitting me? You're not effing quitting. You're finishing this.
I quit, you win.
What? Oh my god.
The power of AFH.
He's better than you at everything!
Angus, for shame.
Basically,
There we go.
it's,
I turned my audio. I turned recording off and I quit.
Oh my
Hooray.
god, Angus.
it's because of what
You
I
are
said.
such a weenus!
I just got the last gem in one.
Well, you did the right thing, Angus. I'm proud of you.
I know I felt guilty that I made you do that game. I'm like,
What do you mean you felt guilty? I'm winning, and you quit because you were losing.
No, he should
not
feel
because you felt guilty. It doesn't matter.
No.
If he really felt guilty, it would have been at the beginning and not after he knew he lost.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
that's a
half the
good
time,
point.
Al, shut up. I don't need to be judged by you. That's it. I'm uploading Meckel as a Tetris party. I'm sorry.
Because you lost your wow, Angus, that's just sad.
And the good thing is, I was recording the speedrun.
Wait, you recorded the voices?
Yeah, I have the voices and everything. And let's call this. Let's upload this to Simply4 and call it Angus Gets Mad or Angus Rages.
Bro.
Oh, God.
Alright, when are you gonna send me your video?
I'm sorry, but you should feel guilty because you forced them to do your own game, which you made. It's not fair.
Fine.
Your own,
Fine.
poorly composed.
I know. I'm not trying to be.
Actually,
Oh god, that's too much. I can't listen to that anymore. I'm like, shut up. I'm not gonna be lectured by you. Jesus Christ.
It's like he's so serious, but and then everyone just like goes, ah.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. I'm very embarrassed by that, but
Now he gets his just desserts much later on, as we will discover.
I think yes,
you know.
yes. So anyway, that just kind of sets up like the kind of guy I was at the time. The by the way, the you have to see the description on this video because it's like I think like this is before any of the drama really happened that we're getting to, and I think Al, you were kind of like losing your tether with me a tiny bit at this time, but here, have a look at this. Have a look at this.
Oh God.
He's better than you at everything. And then there's like, was it I quit, you win. I turned off my. See, everyone's kind of like, this is good,
Voting
this is good, this is good. I'll read this. I read this in my like 2011 voice. Look,
Yes.
look, Al, I don't want to argue anymore, so I'll just come out and say it. Yes, I lost at my own game, and yes, I was a sore loser. But I never forced Meckel into doing anything, and the fact that you defend him in every turn, no matter what he does, proves my sheep theory correct. You could have had no part in this and just left Meckel and myself have this argument. But you had to get involved, and FYI, complaining about losing speedruns doesn't make me a disgusting human being. There is, like, there's.
Well,
some good
you're
points.
right. At the end, you were
There's a
correct.
point in there. There's a point in there.
There's a point
Right.
somewhere in there.
There were some valid points, in fairness.
Oh, this is a good
Yeah,
one
I mean
too.
the
This is
last
a-
part, yes.
This is a good one. I say, hold on. I say, this is a completely backwards. Not only did Meckel say that he wanted to speedrun this game, but I also did agree to do a normal game. I wouldn't have done this speedrun had Meckel not said he wanted to do it in the first place. Way to tell one side of the story, Al.
To be fair, if you go onto the I'm a Speedrunner fandom, IAS4 and CB Speedruns drama, it actually explains that a bit more. It says that Meckel had been trying to get another race sorted with you and you were ducking him, so he just said, if you'll race me tonight, we'll do race against time. So it's like he had a last
that sounds
resort,
right.
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially,
Yeah, so-
I tricked him into racing. Not tricked him. Oh, jeez, was that a Freudian slip? I don't know. I convinced this poor guy to race me in my own fan game. He beat me. I was a very sore loser about it, and then I think I didn't send my footage, or we did a rematch in another game, and I didn't send my footage. Anyway, so that was all happening.
Yeah.
I was getting very, 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 very fed up with the whole losing thing. This was coming off me also being like a quarter-finalist in I'm A Speedrunner 3, so I was like, I had this like inflated self-worth of myself at this time. So, at this point, I got eliminated from the tournament. I was done, I got eliminated from it, and I was very upset with this whole situation, so I uploaded a rant video to the channel. Now, I'm not going to play the rant video, because the rant video is kind of boring, but I will play the other video, the YouTube edit that Al so kindly made of me. It's a very kind send-up. It's very kind. He did a very good job with this, and it paints me in such a good light. So let's just take a second to appreciate this wonderful work of art. Here we go.
But IAS4 is just the I'm A Speedrunner rules. Like the tournaments are, Ratchet 5 can run a tournament.
The I'm A Speedrunner for round 2 started actually back last Sunday. And not a single match has been uploaded or even done for what I know.
Ratchet 5 can run a tournament.
Nobody's been bothered to do anything for the tournament. It's been a complete waste of time.
Ratchet 5 can run a tournament. Ratchet 5 can run a tournament. Ow, 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 in his video said that no one cared that I'm A Speedrunner 4 was closed. I care. That was a pretty darn good tournament. Stick Kids probably cares.
Why the hell?
Anyway, that's enough of that. But it's funny because I'm talking in that about Ratchet 5 being able to run a tournament, which kind of inflates the whole Me Tooism situation where it's like, Meckel can't run a tournament. He's not the true I'm A Speedrunner guy. It's got to be Ratchet 5. And anyway, so that was that video. But in that I talk about the channel being closed. I say that people were upset about I'm A Speedrunner 4 being closed because this was a thing that happened, and I think it's time to kind of talk about the situation, the hacking. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a big community mystery to this day. We don't know who did it. We don't have definitive proof, and I'd like to spend the next maybe like 5 minutes talking about this because I think before we move on to sort of the next stuff, because I think we've talked about I'm A Speedrunner 4 for a little while here, but let's talk about this. So the channel gets closed. The I'm A Speedrunner 4 channel gets closed pretty quickly into the tournament starting. Like I'm A Speedrunner 4 probably started in April, and I think maybe a week after. There weren't many videos at this point on the channel. It gets hacked. And someone called the Black Penguin 311 claimed to do it. And we don't really know who that was, but we thought it might have been a guy called Todd Gamer Pro because he had some other trolly type channels that he used to run.
AM Treasure, Mr. Non 100% Gamer, and the Rixer owns, apparently, according to him.
Was it Mr. Non 100% Gamer? Yeah, so he was a bit of a troll. But then Ratchet 5 at that point was like, only a few people can have the password. So for some reason it was me, Mr. 100% Gamer, Christian, aka I'm Not a Dr. 5, and Meckle Monsieur. And we were the ones who had the password. And then, a little bit later, Meckle and Al's tournament, the Crash Dash tournament, the CB Speedrunners tournament, also was closed. And for some reason, like, Meckle decided not to, re-upload any of the videos or anything. Like, it was just like, he just kind of, I think, did he quit or something, Al? Like, what happened there? He just couldn't be bothered?
I don't think he had the videos, actually. So I think that was a part of it. And yeah, I think it kind of just put him out, the fact that that happened. So it... Oh, who DC? Did Angus DC? Okay. Bye, Angus.
What?
He's still there? Sorry. Oh, Christian. Okay, sorry. Right. Sorry about that. Okay, right. Technical difficulties. So as I was saying, yeah, so I think he actually didn't have them. And I think it just really kind of... It just soured him a bit, I think, the fact that someone would just go and close his channel like that. I know that we later suspected that he closed his own channel. I actually don't think that was the case. Like, really, having read back this article as well, cataloging everything, I don't think he would have done that. Like, I know that, like, he later kind of became known as being someone kind of, like, a bit trolly or whatever, but I wouldn't surprise me if it was also Todd Gamer Pro, honestly. Like, I just blame him, too.
The other thing that happened with this one, too, was that I threatened, after losing a race to him, if we didn't rematch, that I would upload a Tetris party, which is like a video where your face zooms in. I was like, because there was a big thing about his parents not wanting his face on the internet or something. I was like, I'm gonna do it.
An underage child, yeah.
Anyway, and then after the tournament was closed down, I uploaded. I actually have the video. It's on the internet. Let me see if I can find it. I hope I have it. But yeah, I uploaded a video to the Spyro Speedruns channel with the face of Meckle Monsieur. And I think Al, I think you'll agree, the time is appropriate to play this video. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't think
go ahead.
Be that upset. But let's play this video, and then I'll tell you what my claimed intentions of it were, and then we'll talk about what people perceived it to be. So. The sad piano music, sad violin music over it, obviously. This is Meckle Monsieur, by the way. I suppose we should have probably shown this earlier. Jesus Christ, I forgot how long this actually was. There is...
Yeah.
Is this the end of CP speedruns?
Yeah.
Is it?
Or speedruns, as I said.
Is it the end?
I was just letting everyone know that the channel was closed.
I mean, yeah.
So yeah, I basically my explanation for what did I say? Downloading a picture of his face, as you do. My explanation for it was that I wanted to inform people that the channel or CB Speedruns had closed, but obviously 10 years later I have to make a confession. It was just because he was kind of fat and I wanted to mock him a little bit. It's true. I admit it.
Oh my god.
You got a confession. Talk Meckle's confessions. That's Angus's confession.
Criminal.
So
not
anyway,
only that. No. You want some more new information too. You also did have an obsession with how people looked because, for example, you assured me at the first time I ever went on on video with you and Now Mad Club 2 that you would not screen share or grab any photos. And then if you go on the C-Rats channel now, you'll see there's like a 34-second clip of me like holding the camera like doing that. And you told me you didn't do that. So there was history that you seem to have this kind of fixation on getting people's faces and stuff like that. Very strange behavior. Very creepy.
Is it this video?
Disturbing, in fact. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the first.
but I think actually that one I'm pretty sure that wasn't me. I think that was Max actually, because Max and I were in the same call together. So I don't want to take credit for that one. What I did though, I screenshotted pictures of your family holiday snaps on the wall. That was me. but I think that
Yeah.
one was Max.
Sickening. You guys are
So,
both sickening me.
continuing the story of
you.
I'm a Speedrunner 4, basically, the channel came back. We brought the channel back. It had about 50 videos on it. And then, it was deleted again. Now, think about this. The only people with the password, confirmed with the password, was myself, John, Christian, Ratchet5, and Meckel. Now, you tell me who could have deleted the channel, huh? You're so sure
Can I add
he's
something?
innocent. You're so sure he never did it. I honestly,
can I-
I think it could have been payback
Fissure,
because of...
Andrew wants to.
I've got
Andrew
it.
wants to.
You've got it?
Yeah.
I think we've very much figured out this piece of the puzzle today. Angus linked me a video of Mr. 100% Gamer, John, versus Meckel Monsieur. Now, in this video, it says artist's interpretation of
Oh,
Meckel's
yes.
footage.
Remember this one.
Now, in this video, John goes through in detail everything that went down in that speedrun, and it is very much notable that he got obliterated. Then, shortly
Meckel got
after the race
obliterated,
happened, Meckel got obliterated. Shortly after the speedrun took place, Meckel lost his footage. Now, this was something that was happening, according to the wiki, a couple times. And he was losing his footage. He was speeding up his footage. And so your reason to be a little bit suspicious of Meckel, honestly, while, yes, some of it was, I think, jealousy, in the CB speedrun sort of days, there was reason to be concerned about Meckel. Meckel had also said things to you personally a bit later on that would very much come across as lies. And while obviously there's no hard feelings, Meckel, there was an air of dishonesty to him. And that includes in IAS4. So he gets eliminated from IAS4. He doesn't join the like, what was it, the triple, like the
He was
second
meant to
chance.
get a second chance triple
He
threat.
actually quit the tournament after.
That's
that
right.
race with
He
John.
quits, and then the channel goes down again.
Not
Okay.
to
I know, it's a
mention
little
too-
bit of a coincidence sort of thing.
Well, what do you
Yeah.
think, Connor? You were a viewer at the time. What are your takes on this?
Well, like the pieces of the puzzle that Andrew just mentioned, like, you know, it does add up. And thinking about it, like, years on, the fact that he quit after losing the race and his footage is gone, like, that is a little bit like suspicious.
100%.
Now, I spoke to Meckel like away from like community. I found him to be a cool dude. Like, you know, so like there's no like hard feelings. It's just more like hearing about it. You're sitting there going, okay, that is a little bit like, you know, in a way that's a bit too much of a coincidence. How you lose your footage, you drop out of a tournament, and then a channel is closed around the same time.
Yeah.
But Al still maintains his innocence. You still do, Al? You still maintain his innocence?
Well, he did have an alibi to say that he like couldn't have done it because he was either asleep, which he was,
Or he was at a party
Or-
drinking.
Or
No,
maybe
it was a
that's
funeral.
it.
It was a funeral, I
or he
believe.
was at school or something when
No,
one
the-
channel
Yeah, it was
closed.
like he was at school. Yeah.
There was a funeral though that he had apparently to go to as well, if I remember correctly
Yeah.
at the time.
I just remember it being a solid enough alibi, but like if you did have to, and here's the thing, like that dishonesty that they alluded to about Meckel, like that for me only cropped up a bit later, where I started to notice holes in certain things. Here's one of them anyway. He told me he was born in Italy. That was a lie. He told me he was like 17 or 18, basically my age. I think that was a lie as well.
He was my age.
He
and
just
we
had this
confirmed that.
habit, and of course, being a teenager, you lie, okay? Like that is something a lot of teenagers do. They act silly, they lie about things, and I think that that's probably what he was doing there. But when you kind of consider this pattern of lying, and then you combine that with the occurrence of the channel closing, you do start to wonder, like,
Yeah.
like it is kind of looking like it could have been him, you know? So
Yeah, look, honestly, I think it's one of those things where it's like, he's a likely suspect. The only other guy I think potentially who could have done it was Ratchet himself in some kind of weird, twisted way, but I don't think he would.
Nah.
And
No.
and it was like,
No, I
honestly, like, it's... I'm a Speedrunner 4, just to sort of sum it up, Mr. 100% Gamer would go on to win the tournament. In one of the more low-key affairs, I think. The whole tournament was very low-key. Obviously,
It was all the drama surrounding it. That was the issue.
And I think running a weird Ratchet and Clank tournament so soon after running a Spyro tournament, a very successful Spyro tournament, it bred this kind of awkwardness in the community at the time. Like, early 2011 was a really weird time, actually, because CrystalFissure wasn't on Skype that much. Al and I started to very much despise each other for no real reason.
I had to be summoned. I had to be summoned via the YouTube messaging system.
Yeah, we had to
true.
don't forget, like, this whole Meckel thing drove a wedge between Al and I so firmly that, like, we didn't talk for maybe 6 months or something like that. It was a good amount of time that, like, went by without us talking, and that was mostly due to the fact that, like, you took Meckel's side, but basically everyone else took mine and Ratchet 5's side, even though I was a complete petulant little child the whole time.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure if that's actually the case.
Bionicle 2809 took your side.
No, Bionicle
obviously.
definitely took your side, yes. But I think ultimately...
And probably the British meanies probably
probably
had no
side,
horse in the race, you know? Like, probably neutral-ish, you know? Like, where they're not going to rock the boat.
Yeah.
I think,
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think, though, I was going around being like, Crash Dash sucks. It sucks, it sucks, it sucks. And I think everyone kind of was like, nah, it's fine. And then when it closes and doesn't continue, I'm like, I was right. I was right all along. I'm validated.
Yes. Now, like... Oh, go ahead, Al.
I do want to say, though, like, Angus, when you uploaded... So, you saw a parody of the video that I made of Angus's rant against Meckel. Like, Angus, do you remember when you uploaded it and they got so many dislikes that you took it down? Because there was... Yeah, I just remember that just being... I think what happened was, like, maybe in the first, like, few, like, maybe, like, weeks... There was, like, a lot of, like, oh, yeah, fuck Angus. But then afterwards, like, everyone just kind of, like, it petered out to where people were just talking with you again because they didn't care. And it was only really me and Meckel and maybe a few others who were, like, not even a few others, like, maybe, like, 1 or 2 people who were like, nah, I don't want to talk to him, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then Meckel ended up kind of being weird.
I was kind of neutral in terms of, like, I was able to speak to you, Al, but then still speak to Angus and that. The other thing is that this is the first instance, I think, somewhat, not entirely, but somewhat, the Ratchet 5 effect, where you know, being the king of the community grants you certain, I guess, benefit of the doubt, and you being associated with him so closely, Angus, and then leading to one of the first ever community meetups with him. That's what gives you that perception, I think, where you just said, where you were kind of like on the side that had outward support, you know, even though, there was that hate towards you, you got through it. Now, just while we're on that tangent, let's just point one more thing out as well, that the Grand Theft Auto tournament actually took place during this time as well. April 1 to May 1. And that was, hosted by Bandy. And it was a GTA tournament. And I believe, I think, I remember doing it. Yeah, I was in it. Me and you were in. This was the first time we'd ever been in the same group, Angus.
Yes, that's
it was
right.
Mr. Thingus, myself, you, and the Stick Kid.
I want to see if the Grand Theft Auto tournament is still... I don't think the channel is up anymore. This is the problem with all these things. The channels get deleted. But I can show you sort of a link of kind of what it...
Do you know who else was in this tournament? Nasty Nork 97.
Really?
So this is the last hidden piece of the puzzle of what was going on around this time. It's just like this is where the Me Too, quote unquote, really came through. Yeah, it ended after a month, as it says. This doesn't mean the channel be closed.
But I think the thing with that was that Bandy was not a good host at all. Like, he was a very bad host. He didn't really outline the rules clearly at all, and he also was very bad at, like, encouraging people to get their runs done. I think I raced. I don't know if are they up on the old wiki? Like, I'm on the old wiki. There's the old wiki that we moved away from, but I don't think the results are on there anymore. But I definitely did a run at least once against CrystalFissure.
Did you beat me? You won, right?
I think I beat you. Yeah, our group had Mr. Thingus, me.
Yeah, I just said this. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was also a group with Crash Bandy, Spyro 12, Rapid Wombat JR, City Ruler 1, and surprise, surprise, Meckel Monsieur, the AFH 013, Ratchet 5, and Mr. Fraser Films 2009 were also all in a group.
Yep.
Yeah,
wow.
How about that?
That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty legendary group there. But yeah, this tournament was run by Crash Bandy, Spyro 12. We called it GTAT, and it was like April 2011 too. So it was, I think, just after I'm a Speedrunner 4, because I'm a Speedrunner 4 ended in April 2011 too.
It started. So I'm A Speedrunner 4, I guess they consider it as March 25, 2011 to May 10, 2011. And then the GTA one started in April 1. So I guess there was overlap.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I would have been definitely like, I got eliminated round 1 of I'm A Speedrunner 4. And CrystalFissure, you weren't really in I'm A Speedrunner 4. This is
I was in 4. I think I filmed 2 races and I never sent the footage in. Now, the tournament that didn't overlap, but rather started one... sorry, I'll hold up 2 fingers. 1 week later was the Spyro Skate tournament.
Yes.
So that started on May 17th.
Oh, yes.
And this was hosted by
Oh my
Spyro
God.
IAS6.
So there was a real period of time where about 4 tournaments happened like all around the same time.
Fucking cool. It's kind of cool. I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Let me
Like,
find
what
the
a
original
time.
announcement for the Spyro Skate tournament because I love this video. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can find the actual like original announcement video because he did upload one, but I don't know if like it's really hard with these old videos because people don't title things what you expect them to title. But maybe if I go back enough, I should have prepared. This is something I should have prepared earlier. This is vlog.
My word! The amount of tournaments, like we just talk about this, with the amount of them, it's incredible.
Oh, here it is.
Like,
Here it is. I got it. Do you guys
It's
want to watch
amazing.
the Spyro Skate tournament announcement?
Oh,
It only
here we
goes for
go.
54 seconds, so it's very cool.
Yeah, do it.
Here you go.
Hey guys, this is Spyro Jam 86. Are you ready for a Spyro Skate tournament? You could win some cool prizes if you're a winner. Anyways, sign up today on my website at spiralrealms.com to sign up today before the deadline reaches 0. And if you're interested and you want to participate in the tournament, you have to sign in on the website before June the 1st. Anyways, update number 2 will contain the rules and format of the tournament. Alright guys, I'll see you there. Bye.
Very succinct. Straight to the point. I love it. You can't get any better than that.
This guy
Fabulous. Well done, Spyro Jam.
Well done. So that
Well, it
was
was very
June
straight to the point.
2011, and that ran from like June to October, I think. And I won that tournament.
May.
Yeah.
May 2011?
May 17. Yeah.
He said sign up by June 1st. Maybe he started it sooner or something.
Yeah.
Maybe he changed his mind. But yeah, that was the Spyro Skate tournament, which I won, thankfully, because I was the best at Spyro Skate tournaments. Although technically I didn't win, and the winner was Machine King, but we think he might have cheated, but we don't know. We never confirmed that categorically if he cheated or not. But Crash Bandicoot Spyro 12 was pretty confident that Machine King cheated, and yeah. So hey, look at me! I'm the winner. Look at that picture. Why did they use that picture of me? Honestly, I think Spyro Jam just took it off my Facebook page.
As you do.
As you do. He must have done it.
As you do, Angus.
I know, the unmitigated goal of this guy to go to your Facebook, right?
I know. So, yeah,
Well,
I
how could
won,
he?
apparently, and then Extreme Video Gamer 321. That was one of his last appearances, actually. Extreme Video Gamer
legend,
321.
man.
Wasn't that,
Oh my god.
Oh my god, dude.
the guy who
Yeah.
put the shoe on his hat? The shoe on his head?
No, that was
Xenocide 8,
Xenocide
No,
8.
that was a
Xenocide 8,
different
yeah.
fella.
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about that, dude. Well, there you go. There's
Xenocide 8.
maybe
Well, we'll have to do
bonus
a whole
content for
other
another
thing
time.
on community lolcows, because that's a whole other...
Yeah.
That's a whole other topic for another day, but... Yeah, so I won that tournament. Apparently Machine King was disqualified, despite getting more points than me. And the winner of the skate tournament, as Spyro Jam says, got a 3DS. But I didn't want the 3DS, I just wanted the money. And instead of giving me the money, he gave me nothing and gave Crash Bandicoot Spyro 12 the money for some reason. I don't know
I think it
why.
was his birthday. I think it was his birthday at the time or something.
It was his what? No, Spyro Jam owes me
Wouldn't it be
$300
funny
for
if you
winning
gave me
his
3DS?
Yeah.
$300
So
Spyro
funny,
Jam. I
you got
want
me
it now.
$350.
Give it to me. Anyway, so that whole thing was happening, and then CrystalFissure and I were best friends at this point, and then Al wasn't. No one was talking to Al except for CrystalFissure because he was a bit. You know, Meckel consumed a lot of your time. I think. Like I don't remember. Maybe you can tell me this.
No one was talking to Al.
For some reason in
No,
my
I
head, I
still-
just have it that in 2011, after this whole thing happened, you disappeared for a while.
No, the thing
That
is, you went
sounded,
on a
that sounded so
holiday.
sad as well.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, Andrew, you recall, because to be honest, I don't actually recall a lot. This is kind of hazy, so Andrew, you might remember more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we talked.
Yep.
This is where we started to venture into the, who are we behind the username? You know, and but I remember, what was it? When was it that you went on holiday? Remember when you did a big holiday?
I went to Rome. Yeah, okay. Thank you for mentioning this, because this would actually fill in some gaps, because this is when the infamous "I can't believe Michael Myers is here. The kid was right." Yeah. So it was, yeah, you were there. Rabbit and Matt. Oh yeah. I guess we might as well say this. So Matt, remember the guy I hated at the end of IAS3? He and I were like best friends at this stage, so that happened. So me, Rabbit, Matt, British Meanies as well. Like we were all like a group of people who talked. Like, so yeah, that was Italy in summer, sometime like June, July, or whatever. So yeah, that's when that happened.
So, speaking of I can't believe Michael Myers is here, that kid was right. That's a common thing we reference a lot. So I think it's only right that we play the clip. So let me play the clip. Here we go. This keeps cutting off. I wish this is the problem when videos aren't in the right format.
I can't believe Michael Myers is here. That kid was right.
Fisher just like, he's trying not to laugh because this is during the time when Rabbit was kind of being a dick to you, but then he used to go like you just like started laughing eventually, like, and Matt's microphone's broken, so that's why you don't hear him laughing. But yeah, anyway, to kind of contextualize that within kind of what we're talking about, that's what I was doing at the time. So,
and maybe I'm misremembering, but this is definitely during the time where Ratchet 5.
You were consumed with Ratchet 5. Yeah, that was when you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, I always felt like the third wheel there.
Like Ratchet 5 and I at this point were like bonding over like movies and TV shows and like. Yeah. You know, I remember he would send me like lists of movies to watch, and then I'd send him lists to watch. We were watching Doctor Who had come back on TV, and we were talking about that all the time, and politics. And it's just, that was like really like a time where he and I kind of just really bonded quite closely.
Bonding over shitty television.
Over shitty television, that's right. And so, and so, like I think that sort of period between IAS4 and 5 can really be contextualized with just lots of inside jokes and lots of like getting more comfortable around each other, really. And then I think, when was the episode, CrystalFissure? Because it was you who brought Al and I back to being friends again.
Yep. So it was 40 Winks. Let's see if it was episode, what one it was. I'm looking now. 40 Winks. I'm Googling it right now.
I got it. Part 27. Deep Dark
there we
Dungeon.
go. What day was that uploaded?
It was June 2011. Actually, okay, so it was really... Hold on a second. Wait a second. In my memory, in my 16-year-old memory, I'm thinking I hated Al for like months, but... I said 6 months earlier, didn't I?
Nah.
This was only 2 months later.
This period of time was simply some of the most dense period of time that you'll ever see, as you just saw with all the tournaments, right? All this shit was getting packed into 3 months. Like, it was ridiculous.
Seriously, so I think if I find there's definitely a part on this Let's Play where I think I joke about like hating you. So let me just see if I can find it.
I hate you. Yeah.
Let's see if we can find it.
Everyone, CrystalFissure here today.
This is what Crystal.
Everyone, CrystalFissure here today. We are playing 40 Winks again, and this is part I got no idea because I don't care. And today I've got a few guest commentators. Let's see if they can say this in order somehow.
Angus.
DAP.
Damn it!
Just I thought.
I waited long enough, Al. I hate you. I hate you. Go to hell. You're a sheep. Everyone's sheep of you. Everyone's a sheep of Al.
That was my bit. Apparently, telling you to go to hell was my.
At that point, you had a true belief in the existence. You know, you were a very, very religious man at the time. You were like, I'm cursing him to hell.
It's funny to me though that I would like bring up like speedrun hatred or whatever. Like, why am I making a joke? Like, no one in CrystalFissure's Let's Play would know that we had beef.
You know what?
Because I know why.
Some would. Honestly.
I think I know why, though. I think it's more because it's like you might have still felt anxious and wanted to like kind of like really like kind of cut the tension and just kind of like say it like, ha ha ha, yeah, I hate you.
That was
like,
definitely
you don't
definitely it.
You don't hate me, right? Yeah, that type of thing. So,
but why did you
I
stop
think that's
hating
kind of
me?
what
Like,
it was.
what made you like forgive me essentially? Or move on from it?
That's a.
Because I don't remember
Because
us
I
ever like
guess-
officially making up.
because I could definitely shed some light there. Because Meckel ended up being pretty weird, with all due respect. Like, he was going around saying to people, "Hey, do you want to see my muscles?" and other things. So
Oh fuck!
that was one
Oh
thing.
god! Shit.
Yeah, you remember
Oh,
that.
Fuck! I need to delete some messages to you guys I had planned. I was going to ask if you wanted to see my muscles.
Oh, right. Well, that's kind of different. So it's like, yeah, I want to see your muscles.
We're in
So
our mid to late 20s now, and we actually like that. You know, like we.
Now,
Yeah,
I want.
love
If
the
you ask me
muscles.
now, I would love to see his muscles.
Exactly.
If
Yeah,
you're out
well,
there,
there you
Meckel, please
go.
show me your muscles.
Honestly.
yes. Well, that, and then I guess that kind of made me think, like, yeah, he's a bit kind of weird, isn't he? So that was one thing, and then I think there was other stuff that you were doing, like you were doing the skate tournament. I think I was watching some of Fissure's LPs where you were in them, and I was like, you know what? Actually, I was like, yeah, no, I like Angus. Like, yeah, I think that was probably another thing too. I just kind of was like, yeah. Like, why am I like mad at this guy? Like, yeah, he's cool, you know. And it was different to the one where Fissure brought Bandy and I together because Andrew, you probably remember I said, well, I don't actually like him. I just think he's like a lol cow, so it's funny to have him around. Like, as bad as that sounds, that was my justification. Whereas with Angus, it's like, no, I actually like Angus, and I'd like to be friends with him again. So it was a little bit different. I just publicly admitting that for the first time. That's what I said about the Bandy situation at the time. Obviously, now I think he's totally, genuinely think he's a cool person. But that was really it, Angus, I suppose. And I just want to also mention then that, like, from that point forward, then that was our friend group for like the next like decade or so, basically. Like, we never had like a falling out again after that. Like, that was it, like we were just like set friends for life. Like, from that 40 Winks LP onwards, just boom, like there's the Australian, it's the
periods of
Australian crew.
It was the Australian
Yes.
crew. But again, I guess this is a good time to talk about the unspoken member, Rabid Wombat JR, as well, because he was a crucial member of that like early group of people. Like, Al, you consider this guy, like, you called him your little brother on numerous occasions. And he was a guy from Sydney, Rabid Wombat JR. I think he goes by Rabini now, I think is his current username. He's like a sadistic Crash Bash speedrunner now. But he was the young gun. He was a real young guy. He was like 13 years old at the time, 13, 14. And we became like really close with him. Like, we bonded with him, like, he was always like Ratchet 5's little minion, if I remember correctly.
No, it was actually he was honestly, he was everyone, and like he actually was I think he found Ratchet and me very, very close to each other because I think LP commentary and like all that kind of stuff, and Bandy, he was a fan of everyone, honestly. That's why his early LPs, which are unfortunately lost to time, were just filled with cameos from basically anyone from that period of time. So I wouldn't pin him down as a fanboy of any particular guy. I reckon. I think he was just a general fan of all of us.
General fan of everyone.
Yeah, I mean, he was really, like, I guess around, and it's crazy to think about this. He was really there from late 2010 to about mid 2012. He was gone by the I'm A Speedrunner 7 by Disney. He was gone, and it's just kind of crazy to think, like, I mean, we haven't been in touch with him for 9 years, but I always, if I could pick one guy that I could just have one more conversation with, it would be him. Because there was a time in 2011 where we were all starting to like share our personal lives with each other. We were starting to get really like close with as friends. We were starting to really kind of like bond with each other over more than just like the video games, but over more than just the speedrunning. And he always held back a bit. He definitely he was always a little more like, he kept his personal life close to his heart, I think. And and maybe it was just because of afraid of sharing or whatever it was, but I think as the community got more into personal life and that kind of thing, he kind of wasn't attracted to that side of things. He was more attracted to the speedruns and the memes and the fun of everything. And I think that
he also was younger. He also was younger by a couple years, even for me.
He was 1 year younger than you. He was Saga's age, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was actually 98. So he was almost 2 years younger. In fact,
I thought he was 97. I thought we always joked about how he was.
No.
We used to joke about how he and Fraser were the same person.
And he also basically is my brother's age because my brother was born in September, and he was in a particular earlier date. don't want to dox him too much, but yeah, so I remember how
Yeah, but he was like super good at Crash. He was really good at Crash, and we all thought he was gonna win the Crash Bandicoot tournament.
Yeah.
We thought he was gonna win it. And then he was really good at Spyro as well. So we'll talk about IAS6 shortly. We'll kind of breeze through I'm A Speedrunner 5 because there's only one really interesting topic to talk about in I'm A Speedrunner 5, and that doesn't involve Rabbit at all. It involves the Stick Kid, aka Zindictive. Now, he's gonna hate me for this because I told him I wouldn't play the clip. I said I wouldn't play the clip, but I have to play the clip because I can't not play the clip. I have to. What do you think? Should I play the clip?
Yes.
Should I play the clip? I just it would feel wrong if we spoke about this this topic and we didn't play the clip. So I'm gonna play the clip, and this will be I guess for context for the rest of the discussion we're gonna have about this thing. So let me
just briefly, not too long, just a little bit of it. So because obviously Jamie doesn't want us like really kind of like playing the whole thing. So yeah.
Yes, this is not. By the way, this isn't meant with ill will. By the way, this is just meant to, I guess, show a bit of the context of the situation at hand. So I'll really just real quickly find the clip because I think it's coming up around here somewhere. So just one sec. I'll show you the clip and then we'll set the context up afterwards because I think that's the best way to do it. So here you go.
Because I suck. Fuck.
Yeah, you do suck. Yeah, that's good. I don't make it to round 2. Yeah, this person... Okay, right, okay. Yeah, like I was saying, I don't make it to round 2.
Fucking hell!
This makes it to round 2. This makes it to round 2, people.
Fuck this! Fuck this shit! Fuck it!
It implicates way worse than it implicates him in some ways. You know, it's that little like I'm not just saying this for the performative, but the clip is as we'll talk about, he's getting very upset. He's repeatedly failing in a children's video game, and you take the time to basically deride him for that and be like, well, this gets it to round 2. Like, oh, this person that's not very good. We know people like that are, that were in the community recently that took that same approach, and we absolutely hate that. So, it was kind of embarrassing on all fronts, really, that you had such a disdain towards someone that just wasn't very good at Crash.
I think like and Jamie, Zindictive. That was the Stick Kid we were listening to there, also known as Zindictive now. Shared his take on it, and look, I think I was very unfair to him at this point too. I think it's also worth pointing out that the community did as we got stronger and as our friendships grew and we got more like comfortable around each other, we arbitrarily kind of selected the people that we kind of thought were a bit like prone to overreactions, and we prodded them and we poked them and we did, I guess if you could call it like cyberbullying if you wanted to. Like there was an element of that. Like I remember particularly there was a channel called the Unknown LPs, which was owned by our good friend the Saggers, who we mentioned in part 1. He ran a channel called the Unknown LPs, and we just, for some reason, I pretended to be his friend to get the password to this channel to then delete the channel or change the password and upload my own stuff to it. So, it's like that's the kind of stuff we did because I own up to it. I definitely own up to it, but I think there was a tendency at the time to kind of deride some of these people. So I don't know, like I looking back on it, like I'm glad I kind of did it to make sure that like I would use that as like a reference point going forward, because I think 2011 me was I talked about this before. 2011 me was unsufferable, I think. Like, I can't listen to myself from 2011 without getting those kind of, like, cringy kind of vibes.
Yeah, I was on... I will add, just to make you feel better, I will add that I think I was on a little bit of a tear as well in terms of certain trolly things. Like, if I look at that, like the Stan Scooby thing, the You thing, there was even, like, a little bit but with Pete the Player, I think, went in IAS5 during that. Like, yeah... I think I was on just a little bit of a tear, I'll say, and then the Zindictive thing too. I mean, I think that needs to be thrown in there too. I think I made some comments which I shouldn't have made to him. So Yeah, like I think maybe it was just in the air, as it were. So it's just a shame in hindsight, but
I
it
think
is what it is.
the point though was that I think we got very like we were a very strong and like I guess like our crew, the Australian crew in this community, we were very as the British meanies were kind of phasing out, because you got to remember, like, John wasn't as active at this time as well, Mr. 100% Gamer, and his core group of guys like Christian and Owen were Barnacle 2809 were kind of like drawing into their own sort of like mini community. Like the community had sort of subsets, and so like we were very outspoken. And whenever you got us and Crash for 1596 and Crash Bandy Spyro 12 together, and if there was someone to make fun of, we would just do it because it was entertaining to us. We thought it was entertaining.
Yep.
And I wholeheartedly feel that, you know, the community did gain a reputation for being bullies. Like, we definitely gained a reputation.
It's stuck, and it's been the hardest hurdle to get past. Even within ISGP, there's this element of people that we would love to speak to that I don't think would ever want to speak to us because we're all tarred with the same brush.
Yeah, and look at these comments. Like, these are the comments from like this kind of thing, like on this video. So it's like, why would you rage at a Crash Bandicoot speedrun, which is getting put on YouTube for fun and no prize whatsoever?
Well, I mean, he's not wrong. I mean,
he's right. He's right.
He's right. Like
at the same time, like I'm just gonna say it. Like he's not. Sludge isn't wrong when he says that. There is this element of, I mean, like I'm sorry, Zin, but I still stand by this. Like what?
This one here, this comment, we actually did change the title of the Serious Business Award to the Stick Kid Award because, again, it's like the thing. Okay, this is the thing though. Let's just put this in context, right? Yep. Guy does video where he gets very angry at Crash. We kind of joke about it. And now, me 2021 version of me, even like later on, I would probably just be like, ah ha 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 ha, move on from it.
Yep.
But what do we do instead? We make parodies. We make a wiki article about it. He makes videos about wanting to leave the community. We, in our podcast, name an award after him, making fun of him by saying he's too serious. Like it's just relentless. It just kept going, and it was just never ending. Like
Can I jump in and just say that there's one more element to this that we've overlooked a little bit, and that is that this happened. I think it was not even a month after another incident with another competitor. You may know him as Malmo Club 2. Now, Malmo Club 2, I'm not going to go into the full details about that, but he was having a lot of trouble and he was, quote unquote, acting out. And so that incident kind of painted the further incidents because it was almost like another, not a boy who cried wolf, but like it was like another lol cow situation, another, oh, like shit, not just so soon after fucking Max, now we've got the Zin or Stick Kid. It was kind of like, it kind of compounded on itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those incidents are connected. I mean, I remember when we were writing the wiki stuff for it, remember they were written at the same time. It was like, oh my God, we went from Max to Zin.
Yeah, I mean, but I honestly think we were too mean on Stick Kid at that time. Like I think like maybe you could say, well, he probably shouldn't have overreacted that way, but then we were just relentless and we were always looking for this kind of stuff because, and I'll blame Al on this one. You made the rant videos that did extremely good engagement, and it were actually like the community craved these like, oh, what's Al's next rant gonna be kind of things. Like you ranted on Sagas, you ranted on me, you created it.
And Al, you know, think about this. I mean, the whole culture of YouTube today is just an extension of that. The entire culture, podcasts, you know, expose videos, people being cancelled. It is literally just taken what you've done and then put it to like a way bigger level, and it's way worse now in many ways. Like, I mean, Jesus, like what you did was like not even scratching the surface compared to what ended up becoming an entire culture of YouTube, like the rant video, the expose, the, you know, read through the DM sort of stuff like that. You're a fucking trailblazer.
No, I wouldn't say I'm a no, definitely not. But like, I never actually thought about the fact that like you do have these people, like I don't know, like people like say, maybe like H3. What's that channel H3? Maybe not nowadays, but I think like it's H3, whatever the fuck the channel's called. Like Leafy as well was another one. Where, like these people who would just find something they didn't like and rant about it. And what I thought I was doing at the time was saying I thought I was like a, and to be fair, maybe I kind of was. I was like a voice of the people. I was like, oh well, I'm saying what everyone is thinking, and I'm trying to call out these people so they stop their terrible behavior, you know. And it's like, in some respects, okay, some of them were unnecessary, like you know the Saggers thing. I think unnecessary. But yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought that I was like a crusader for good. I was like, well, everyone thinks this, so I'll be the person to like. Yeah, say, and to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's still a figment of my personality today, but I think I'd like to think I've calmed down a bit, so that's good.
I do think though, for what it's worth though, I definitely did have self-reflection after listening to your video about myself. Like, I think, you know, if it was entertaining for other people, that's fine. But for me personally, like, I was just like, okay, I think I've gone a bit too far here. I think I do need to like.
Yeah.
Stop being such a shit. Although, I mean, it's hard to say because I did do the stick kid thing, and it's just I don't know like when your behavior like changes or when my behavior changes, because we were embroiled in stuff like for years. Like it was always the next thing. What's the next drama? What's the next thing? And I guess like, and this is where I'll bring Connor in, because you were really like watching at the time, and you actually signed up to I'm a Speedrunner 5. What was your kind of perspective from the outside at this point in time? Like, were you aware of like the drama? Were you aware of like the kind of the players and everything?
I was aware of the competitors really, in terms of like what their personalities were like. So, for example, I knew Al was the outspoken member really of the Europeans. For example, I knew Ratchet 5 was like the host. He was the one that like hosted the tournaments, and John, etc. And I knew like Robin and Matt were seen as like, you know, probably the more jokesters and memers more so. And I'm very good at speed running as well in that sort of respect. Now, Stick Kid did seem to come across as a bit of a target watching some of those videos. Because like, I think there's a race he did with Al, and like you can kind of tell there's a bit of tension in it. Because it's just all quiet, and then like Matt just comes up with apparently people hate you, Stick Kid, and there's like it just bursts out laughing, and you're
sorry. I literally just started laughing there. It's like,
it's like all right, calm down, all right guys, calm down.
Sorry, continue, Connor. I apologize. Please continue, Connor.
Well, it's just like, oh, okay, calm down. In terms of like the rage moments as well, that seems to be kind of a weird thing. But see, because Ratchet kind of used to do it a wee bit too, but for some reason that seemed to register with like people a bit more. Because remember he did it with Max one time, and that seemed to register a bit with people. Now, but I think actually, we had a call a few weeks ago, and Fisher was making the point, actually made a very good point that stuck with me, that it seems to be across the tournaments, if you could berate someone on a video, it would actually get you big views. So, for example, like IS5, Stick Kid, like I know Fisher said it was him for 6, me for IS7, and I don't know we had for 8 or 9, but it just seems to be like that kind of thing. Now, in regards to Stick Kid, maybe he shouldn't have gone over the top, but I think from the message he sent us, it does, from his perspective, like, you know, for him at the time, it was a big thing to get to round 2, and I know, like, you know, if you get to round 2 these days, it's kind of like, it's great, but it's not like amazing, but it's like a good thing. It's a good achievement sort of thing, but like, and for him it was a good achievement at the time, because he was a teenager too. And I think, like, I can understand as well why he would get frustrated, because if you're literally failing and someone's literally in the back going, how the hell are you in round 2? How am I sitting here commentating on a match and he is in round 2? Like, I can understand why he got upset as well.
Yeah, well, I think that you brought up a really good point there, actually. It's like, there was this kind of thing in the tournaments where if you could rip into someone, like, on a video, it would be like immortalized forever. Like you'd be like, the video would go up, and people would be like, "Holy shit! Did you hear that one where Al tore into Stan Scooby 545?" You know, it's like it was this kind of power play thing. I can't explain it really better than that. It was just like, I don't know. You know, you guys kind of know what I'm talking about.
Apologies to cut across, but it's just I don't want to kind of like move on from this, but do you think that part of why you did that to Stick Kid was almost a way of like getting the some of the residual heat off yourself from when you had that done to you with Meckle?
Yeah, I felt like there was a bit of that too. Actually, I agree.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was like, I, I can like remember psychologically how I felt at the time, and I definitely the bad taste of CB speedruns hadn't quite like washed off of me, and so I was a little bit triggered by Crash Bandicoot. I remember I did a race with Spike Stuff 95, and I think I was beating him for most of the race, and then I started falling down pits or something, and then he beat me, and I was very... I don't know, I used to get... My adrenaline used to flow a lot more in Crash Bandicoot for some reason than Spyro, and I used to get really tense. And I think I put a lot of like stuff into like, oh, I'll get out of round 1 again, because I was... For some reason in my head, I was like... I got to the quarterfinals in I'm A Speedrunner 3, and then I got eliminated round 1 of IAS4, and then I got eliminated round 1 of IAS5, and I felt personally like I failed or something like that. Like, I felt my self-worth was tied to how I performed in these tournaments for some reason. And so when Stick Kid got through, and I was very upset because he's like, he kind of got through in weird technicalities or something like that. The groups were very weird, and like there was one group where video game rules got through because he just played one race and everyone else in his group dropped out, for instance. But
I got one for you.
What's that? Wait,
I got one for you as well. No, I wasn't in that group, but just when you talk about the weird stuff, there was one where Stan beat me in a race, but I uploaded my footage alone because he didn't send me his footage, which he didn't, to be fair. And it meant that I got more points than him, even though he won, and I went through ahead of him, even though he beat me.
That happened all the time. I'm gonna pull up the page for this tournament because I think this kind of like mismanagement really affected me in a way because I was very upset with how like the how it went because yeah, here's the groups, right? So this is I'll have to like pull it out of touch one second. This is annoying. Oh, okay, anyway, you can see the losses anyway. So yeah, like, this group had 2 people quit, so the only 2 people who didn't quit automatically just went through. This group had 2 people quit, so the only 2 people who didn't quit automatically went through. This group had, what the hell, 1, 2, like, I had 3 people quit, including Mr. Game Sandy, who quit.
No, replaced.
He was replaced, probably by Barefist 69 or something. But I mean, like, look at this group. This is
was that Fraser?
Yeah, this group.
Nah.
Biotical quit. Music Generator quit. Stan Scooby didn't send his video to you, even though he won the race. And
yeah, you can see one loss for me.
And the only reason you went through. Okay, look at that. Look at that. You lost to Stan Scooby.
God.
Yeah.
You only beat Stick It. You won 1 race and got through. He only beat Bionicle 2809, who quit the tournament and still got through.
That's the best ever.
Like, explain that to me. And then you get to my group. Okay, group. Look at this group. Mama Club 2, quit. Replaced. Quit. And then you get my group, one of the only groups where no one quits, and everyone plays their races, and I don't go through. Don't you think I probably could have gone through instead of, like, Mama Club 2, you know?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Can you see where maybe I was a little bit upset because of the way the tournament was run?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like a shit show, this tournament. It was an absolute shit show. And
I think this was the largest tournament, actually, from all the ones, but it also had the record for having the shortest matches in round 1 done of any of the tournaments, too.
And that was always a source of consternation for me anyway. I used to say to Ratchet, please stop letting so many people in. Like, I hated how many people it annoyed me, and I think others as well to no end, because stuff like this happened. So there was no quality control.
This mentality never died. It even ties into ISGP related things about like whether you let people in or whether you be, strict. So obviously old habits die hard when it comes to like letting anyone in. So yeah.
And that's where I think the ban list actually came from as well. That tournament inspired. That's where it happened, where it was like, right, unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to be a bit more tough now. If you've been away for too long. Because I remember James 267 was the classic example. Oh, I'll be here. Did he show up? No.
That's
Nope.
right. James 2667 was a notorious tournament quitter, actually. So,
Yeah.
so this group, like I'm looking, like if you look at the wiki here, our wiki, like look at this table here. Now, ideally, you'd have every slot taken up in this table, but Group N only had 2 people do any races. Group A
Yeah,
only had 2
by the way.
people do any races. Group G only 2 people. Like, and then the only groups that had everyone compete was Group M, Group I, which is my group, Group F, Group E, and Group C. When you have groups going down to N, that's the 14th letter of the alphabet. There were 14 groups in this tournament. That is just too many people. And, I talked about this before. You're keeping track of these people in Skype groups, in individual separate Skype groups. There's no way of managing it in, like, a really effective way. So, look, honestly, the grand final had, like a what do you call it, a factoid thing at the end where it's like IAS5 had the least amount of drama. In my opinion, IAS5 is one of the worst tournaments, and I'm sticking my flag in that.
Okay.
I think it was, honestly, in my experience, from 3, 4, and 5, at least 4 was fair, I think. I can say that, because at least 4, all the groups, for the most part, everyone competed, and for the most part, like, here, look at 4. I can, since this is part of the video, like, look at this. Look at that. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, yeah, sure, Mr. Fraser Films and I'm not a Dr. 5, like, dropped out. They were never going to go through anyway.
Yep.
This group, nice. CrystalFissure was the only one who really screwed that one up. Group E, everyone did their races. Look at this. Every single person round through did their races. Meckel quit, but they still had their second chance, and then, there. Seriously, I'm a Speedrunner 4 gets a lot of, like, heat for being the boring tournament or the weird tournament because it's Ratchet and Clank, but at least it, like, makes sense. I'm a Speedrunner 5 is just a complete nightmare from start to finish. And the only good thing about I'm a Speedrunner 5 is that Samurai One Man won. Samurai Man.
Yes, and Samurai Man being one of the most impressive speedrunners just like in the real world, like outside of our insular universe. But I would say that the work rate, quote unquote, the skill level of some of these races were pretty good. Like I'm looking at round 3. You've got matches like Pete the Player versus Monkey JK, Crash Bandy versus Luke R45, 44, Ratchet versus Lapogne. Crash Form 596 versus Rabid Wombat JR. That's where their rivalry really.
Here, I'll just play you like a clip from their race. Like, look at these. This is 2011 like speedrunning. Rabid had mastered slide spin by this point. He was like, we thought he was gonna win this tournament. Like, we thought he was a shoo-in to win.
And he would have if he wasn't facing one of the best in the world. Like that's as simple
Samurai
as that.
Man was truly next level, and it's kind of, I guess, interesting. I don't know if he would remember his time in this tournament. Like, I honestly don't know if he would remember.
Vaguely, I'm sure he would, yeah. And I remember enjoying talking with him in calls, because he's, typical Finn, he wouldn't, like, say a whole lot, but when he did, it was really funny, because I remember he used to say, he was a speedrunning husband of someone. I can't remember, that was, like, a joke that was said, like, he was someone's speedrunning husband, like... And I remember also yeah, and to be fair, IAS5 Grand Final, I mean, the commentary was, I stand by that was hilarious. Like, there was I enjoyed that commentary so much. There was, like, we got, I think, Finland Boy and Samurai Man to speak in Finnish as well. Yeah, that was just great.
30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And we had I'm sorry, Orin raging was funny. Like that was funny. Like it's still funny
One
he's
race
just like
actually that I quite enjoyed was Oron Super 95 versus Todd Gamer Pro in the semifinals. The commentary of that one is also quite funny. Oron was quite the character, definitely. But yeah, I'm a Speedrunner 5. Look, we're gonna, like, this is, I guess it's a weird point, like almost towards the end of this podcast to announce, but we are gonna, after at the like the season finale, the episode 5 of the history of the I'm a Speedrunner podcast, we're gonna get everyone to rank their personal favorite tournaments, and we're gonna do the definitive list, the definitive rank of the I'm a Speedrunner tournaments. So that's something we're gonna do. I'm excited to see that. But
forward to it.
I don't like me personally, I'm a Speedrunner 5 is not one I look back fondly on. Like, there wasn't apart from the stick kid thing, there's not much I can really go like, oh yeah, that was really memorable. Oh yeah, that was really memorable. At least I'm a Speedrunner 4 had like a lot of controversy surrounding it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we can like stamp our flag in that one and move, as I would say, move swiftly onwards to I'm a Speedrunner 6. Because this one, oh boy, I'm a Speedrunner 6. Now, at the time, I said this was the most dull tournament, but in hindsight, this one actually correlates with a lot of like positive, fond memories of my life. And I mean, this one was also, this had 48 participating players. Look at this. This is like a who's who of everyone, like Menai Doctor, myself, Zadeskate, Spyro Jam, and of course, making his debut. Where are you? Where is Mr. Game Sandy?
It would be
there,
there,
Mr.
Group
Game
E.
Sandy, Group E, with
Group E,
alongside
yeah.
everyone by JR.
Hey, why is that not linked up? Shit, I gotta link that.
I gotta link that.
Fuck.
So let's watch a Mr. Game Sandy speedrun, and we can talk about. Mr. Game Sandy can first of all give his thoughts on this tournament. So, AKA ConorDavid. We should say that you don't like being called Mr. Game Sandy anymore.
Oh no, just new name now, lads.
New name, yeah, new alias.
ConorDavid.
New name, new man.
Anyway, so yes, tell us about I'm A Speedrunner 6. Give us your brief synopsis on I'm A Speedrunner 6, Mr. ConorDavid.
So, I'm a Speedrunner 6. Brilliant tournament. Finally got to join at long last. Oh, there it is, boys. There it is. Two people pointing the camera at a screen.
Yes, you were
beautiful.
The famous
Beautiful.
one, the most famous example in history.
Actually, it's not too bad in the context of a split screen speedrun like this. It's not awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Yeah. So basically after I'd watched I'm A Speedrunner 3 the previous year, and I really wanted to be in the next Spyro tournament. Whenever it hosts again, I said next time there's a Spyro tournament, I'm going to have to get my stuff set up going, make sure I join the tournament. I actually got the last spot for this tournament. Actually, literally, if you look at the sign up video for I'm A Speedrunner 6, you'll see mine was the last name to be on it. And I literally got the last spot.
Let me find that video, because you linked it to us, didn't you?
I did indeed.
Let me find it. Yes, I will bring that up, because that is an interesting thing. By the way, King Europe 1 says to us that he was known for his default wins. That is definitely true. He was like, people would drop out left, right, and center around him, and he would just sort of like cruise on through somehow. But yeah, sorry. This is like, yeah, this is the order of the sign-ups. So let's have a look at this. So yes, Mr. Fraser Films. He was always the first person to sign up.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yep.
We have Catrononis, who's someone of quite.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get to talking about that individual, but maybe. Yes, Mr. Game Sandy. Banned people. I love this. Look at this.
Yeah.
James 267, Billy,
That's amazing.
Radshan, Salamence Master, Is that Jeremy Thompson? No, that's a music generator.
It is, and this is our smoking.
No way.
Part 3.
What?
Incredible! I can't believe this exists. Screenshot this like right now. This is huge.
Is it? What's so huge about this?
That's incredible.
The fact that it's so clearly stated that these are the banned people. I don't even believe they were on the wiki as banned. Right? Like, this is proof that there was absolutely people that were actively banned and enforced.
Which is funny, because like a guy like CrashFan994 and Doppelganger Gang and James 2667, they were banned mostly for their like lack of showing up to tournaments they previously had said that they wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny.
I was a big proponent of the ban list. I just want to say I was a huge pusher of getting this in place.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because we talked about Mr. 100% Gamer. His last tournament appearance was I'm A Speedrunner 5, right? And he says that he hopes it goes well. He's not that interested in taking part this time. And that was it. That was it after that. Done. Finished. Finito.
Wow.
Also signing up, Muddy Maestro, the current ISGP champion. This was his first tournament as well. So you're in good company there, Connor.
I am, yeah.
NGF says quite a ban list there.
Of course, the other rounders still here.
And then Ratchet 5 says, I think there was finally time for one, XD. And then, well, you probably have... This seems very passive-aggressive here, jeez.
Yeah, you probably have better things to do.
Shame you didn't want to join. Well, you probably that was definitely a Ratchet 5 comment.
It's funny because I genuinely don't think he meant it that way, but it does come across that way.
It definitely comes across
it's
that
pipe
way.
as well.
Any other? Oh, I'll join. Full stop. Hey, look at that. You're using a full stop CrystalFissure.
Wow.
That's
That was
bad.
cool.
Hey, Yogamogo.
I was talking to Sarah at the time, guys. I was fucking in.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what.
whatever.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But yeah, this tournament had a lot of like first fresh newcomer faces, such as you and as well as Muddy Maestro. Now, the other thing about this tournament, the thing I really remember, is that this tournament coincided with the very first meetup of me and Ratchet 5.
Oh yes.
Yes. So I'm gonna actually see if I can find the meetup clip, because I think that's a pretty funny video to watch. I just I think this is the problem. People change their channel name. So it used to be on Spyro R5, but I think it's on Dragon Racing World Cup now.
The fuck
so
is
I'm
that?
gonna have to find the video, because people.
Well, if it isn't, well, I can't say. I'm not going to say his actual name, but you say his. Well, if you're going to play it, I suppose you say it in it anyway.
Plus, we already got
It's like, you know.
Oh right, yeah, we did, yeah. So well, isn't Andrew Carroll? And then you just go, oh my god,
That's right. Well, I don't know.
God,
You need to play the video. You've got-
I guess.
Your impression is flawless. Let me see if when yeah.
I'll have to come out.
All right, here we go. Oh yeah, here it is. All right, watch this. This is the genesis of the meetup, and the meetup is basically when two freaks off the internet decide to meet up together and talk about community bullshit for a week and then leave, essentially. So this is the first time I ever met Ratchet 5 in person. So this is December 18, 2011. So let's just quickly watch the actual meeting portion of the meetup.
Sorry?
I said, would you look there? It's Andrew Carroll. Yeah, I didn't
God.
put my thing on.
Oh my god.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, you did put your oh you.
I just the thing is just there.
Oh.
It's like nothing to see. It's just me walking.
It is. There is things to see. There's you do exciting commentary and all that kind of stuff.
It's not. It's just it's
So-
like
Alright.
seconds.
Okay. I'm not used to looking through the normal thing, so I'll just look through the video camera.
Oh, that's so awkward. It
Also
breeds
illegal. Yeah.
awkwardness.
It's illegal, isn't it, for him to be filming like there? I'm pretty sure that's
It
one
could
thing.
be. I don't think they were gonna prosecute actual teenagers for filming, but it's funny because that was the first time I'd ever met up with him, and it's weird because like I would think that my dad would be the last person to be like, yeah, fly down to Sydney and meet up with this guy, but yeah, he was fine with it, and it kind of opened the door up to all these like other meetups, like, and maybe you could say without that meetup I wouldn't be living in Adelaide right now.
Right.
My life could have turned out very
I mean,
differently. But yeah,
I
so
just
I
want
met
to
up
point
with him
out,
at the end of 2011, and that was also around the time where we went to where I did a lot of my speedruns for I'm A Speedrunner 6 actually at his house.
Yep.
And so that was the big thing. But yeah, like I'm A
Yeah.
Speedrunner 6, I think it's funny because I think we talked about like broadly most of the cyberbullying stuff and all the other controversy and drama. By the time I'm A Speedrunner 6 had come around, like I think that I don't know. Can you describe the atmosphere, Al? Because I think like it was definitely more of a mature community, even a year after IAS3, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. About that video, I just want to mention two things. One, that was highly anticipated. Everyone was freaking out, very happy about that. I remember, like, everyone thought it was amazing that you two saw each other, and we were, like, all, like, enthused AF. So that was one thing. A second thing I wanted to point out about it, I can't remember, but it'll come back to me. Yeah, so it was a much more. I'd say it was a mature community. Yeah, even like it's funny though because I feel like when you're young like that, you mature at a very like rapid rate almost. And for me, there's a big difference between me being say 18 in IAS3 and then like 19 going on 20 in IAS6, and I think everyone had bonded with each other because it wasn't this thing where we were all new to each other. I think IAS6, yes, there were still new people coming in, Connor being one of them naturally, but we all seemed to kind of know each other already. I think we were all comfortable around each other, and I think we were more of like a community at that stage as opposed to before, where it's like all these new people kind of like being thrown together, and it resulted in what it resulted in. So it was a really, I also look back on it fondly as being like a very nostalgic, great time, great calls, everyone enjoying themselves. If you go and watch, sorry to keep rambling about it, but like me versus Muddy Maestro, like that's just a bunch of like lads just really enjoying themselves, like just having great banter, great conversations. Everyone's just happy. So
Let me
good times.
find. Yeah, I wonder if the commentary says who was in the commentary.
Oh, it was me, Matt, Rabbit. I think Sam
Connor was there. Connor
He was, yeah. Sam was there, yeah.
Connor was there. Yeah, Sam was
I
there.
wasn't
Connor
there.
was
No,
there.
I was just included. I was included in the description, but I wasn't there actually.
Ah, okay.
Samatello was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like I honestly like I'm a Speedrunner 6 has. It's funny because years gone by, I would have said it was one of my least favorite ones because it was uneventful and everything. But I actually think it's grown a lot in terms of my favor over the last few years because of that. It's just it was uneventful, but it was a great time. Like it was no bad vibes in I'm a Speedrunner 6.
Yeah.
Even the grand final, which we'll talk about, the situation with that and the controversy. It wasn't like we were angry about it, and I think even Rabid took that a lot better than he, I mean, not Rabid, you and everyone else took it a lot better and was acted with much more maturity. I don't remember, imagine if I'm a Speedrunner 3 had a similar controversy with the grand final. It would have been crazy. This is why I've been enjoying this podcast a lot. Actually, is because it's funny to look at these tournaments that I didn't have much fondness for at the time because they didn't have a lol cow and they didn't have Crash Bandicoot Spyro 12 exiting a level and then stop playing, and then we didn't have all these parody songs and everything. But yeah, I think it was a great time. What do you think, CrystalFissure? I haven't asked your opinion yet.
Something about it just felt a bit off for me. I just remember and I wonder if it was because of my first round elimination. And it maybe that bummed me out more because this was the time to be really good, and then I had gotten a pretty tough group. So maybe that's why I don't really have that same level of nostalgia towards it. I'm trying to think that it's one of those things where I feel like I have to watch some of the old calls and see if I was in them and whether I enjoyed it. But because unfortunately my first kind of reaction is not as much. And I remember there was some issue between Al and I in IAS6 in the final where we just didn't seem to get along super well. It was not, I wouldn't call it a fight. It was definitely nothing along the lines of the you thing. But I just remember it was just I don't know, there was just a bit this air of awkwardness with my involvement there. Maybe I wasn't sort of valid to be there because I got eliminated so early. I don't know. I felt like it was a little bit. There was maybe a little bit of an element of try-hardy to that tournament, and myself included.
Yeah.
That I was
I could see that.
I couldn't make it. Do you know what I mean? It's hard. It's just instinct.
It was the tournament where people did try hard, very much so.
Yeah.
And I think Connor, it was your first tournament. So do you look back at it with any reverence and nostalgia, kind of like how we looked at IAS3, because IAS3, I mean, CrystalFissure was in I'm A Speedrunner 1, but your first true tournament experience was IAS3, I would say, for CrystalFissure, Al, and myself.
Yeah.
So, how do you see IAS6?
From IAS6, I was actually going to make the point there. I think what helped me coming into the group was the fact that I had watched 3 to 5 before joining, so I was used to seeing the people in it. I kind of knew everyone's personality from an outside perspective, and then from going into the tournament, it's just going to be a case of you're just going to be in calls them probably more regularly because obviously you're in the tournament and you're going to be in people's matches, etc., etc.
Yep.
Now, one memory I do have is that it did feel super chill because I remember we did a podcast. Richter hosted a podcast, and it was a case of anyone could join. And I even remember messaging Sam saying, "Sam, do you want to join the podcast?" And I asked Richter, and he goes, "Yeah, that's no bother." And we just went in and just talked the tournament away, had a good crack. It was just a good tournament. It was very good vibes. I think everyone kind of, with the try-hardiness, it was just, I would see it more as that they want to do better because I think if you look back in IS3, like, we did get results that you might have expected, and I think people felt you could be the same here in this tournament, that there was a good chance. And I think maybe a lot of people like Spyro 2 at the time, and I think that really would have helped certain people because, you only have to have Spyro 2 and then you could literally, like, get in the tournament that way. I remember even Nevius was one of those people that literally only had Spyro 2, and
Nevius, yes.
it worked a treat for him.
I'm glad you
he was a
mentioned
good
him.
guy, Nevius, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like I'm just looking at like the kind of like people that progressed through to round 3. Like round 3 had the AFH013 Zadeskate, Crash41596, Rabid Wombat JR, Pete the Player, myself,
Very
the
stacked.
Rixer, Ratchet 5, Evil Omnimon, which was Jake GF 257. They had Manai Doctor, Nevius, and Luke. Like that is a real like.
That is a good group. That is a good
tough. That was round 3, mind you. And then round 4 had Ratchet 5, the AFH013, Luke R44, Pete the Player, Rabid Wombat JR, and Evil Omnimion. Like, Ratchet 5 had to win a second chance triple threat to actually qualify. That was a hell of a final, like, hell of a final 4.
Yeah.
Ratchet 5, the AFH013, Rabid, and Luke. Probably the best final 4 you could ever ask for in a tournament, to be honest. Like, that's a good final 4.
Yeah, I mean, Matt. If you had Matt in there, then potentially that would have been even stronger, I think. Because, and I will say, there was one little thing of tension was between Rabbit and Matt at the time. Like they definitely had like an unspoken tension, and their quarterfinal match was that was the only hint of controversy where I can't remember what it was, but I think Matt ironically wanted a rematch from Rabbit over it. So that's and yeah, as I said earlier, like my first match in this tournament was with Matt in Spyro 1, or was it Spyro 1 or did we do Spyro 3 again for the meme?
You did Spyro 3 again. I remember watching
Yeah,
it.
we did Spyro. Yeah, we did for the. Thank you. Yeah, we did Spyro 3 for the meme, and I think the same goal. So we were like best of friends here. But yeah, so he and Rabbit had a little bit of tension.
Won.
He did, yeah. He still fucking whooped my ass in that one. It was pretty funny. But yeah, that was the only I think hint of tension there. That aside, though, Nevius was in our calls a lot too. He was a good part of it as well. I remember, really nice guy. Enjoyed talking with him, and yeah, I think I want to kind of comment on what Fissure mentioned. Like I do think Andrew was a little bit on the outskirts at this time, definitely. Maybe also influenced by the fact that you had a bit of tension with Rabbit maybe too. I think we had a little
what it was. I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was a Rabbit related thing. You and Rabbit at that point were very close, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was best friends with Ratchet 5 and even at his house as well.
That's right. I think honestly it's one of those things where it's interesting that I have this reaction because I haven't thought about it since then, but that's why when everyone starts coming up, I start thinking, yeah, wait a minute, what do I actually like about this? And I think that is like that's the point, is that the speed runs were way better. The quality was better. The editing was better. The overall tournament was probably better than 3. But 3, I have this real fond memory of, and it's like this kind of like this magical thing. And then 6 is where I consider it a new era. And I also think that it's also when there was sort of a bit of a mini exodus in 2011 with the British meanies. So even though I didn't always get along with those guys, I still like them and I like being around them and I like listening to their calls and stuff like that at like 3 a.m. in the morning because that's what I used to do. So the eras that it then started to change even in 2012, which we won't talk about now. But 2011, there was like this, by the end of 2011, like something was a bit different. And it was like Rabbit, I think Rabbit had ascended up. And that's what got him in the conversation to these meetups that we'll talk about the next time. And there's all this other stuff that like 6, I feel like set the stage for, and maybe that's why I felt, and you guys meeting up. So that's maybe why I felt maybe a little bit left out. I think that's a great way of putting it.
This has been like a really interesting discussion about 6. Like I never really thought about it like in that kind of, I never framed the discussion in that way before because you are right. Like, whereas I sort of 6 has become more fondly remembered for me, I can see why for you it's probably like less eventful, and especially going through the round 1 elimination. Like, we didn't talk about this at I'm A Speedrunner 5, but you shocked everyone and got to round 2 in I'm A Speedrunner 5. So I think you were kind of like trying to make
ready.
And we
ready
touched
to
upon
go.
this in the first part as well. You especially like weren't really known as the speedrun guy.
No, kind of known as a bit of a speedrunning joke, to quote the article. And I mean, you know, if you're talking about, like, not to put myself over too much, but yeah, that's definitely the trajectory is of this absolute failure to being able to do a lot better.
Oh, we'll talk about that in the next part. It's interesting how the next part's going to be like
regression.
7 and 8, but that's going to be 2013 and 2012. Like that's
right. But yeah.
So in this part, we've only covered January to December 2011. Like, it's actually been a shortest period of all time. But it was.
I was going to add that that, you know, my group as well, Oron Super, who's excellent, and Teal Game Master, my senpai, the king of YouTube himself. So you know, an absolutely tough group. Lost to Platform King. Would have loved a shag and wagon to get
beat
back
the Platform
in there,
King.
I beat him, So it was a tough group, honestly. Like that, those guys were set. Like they were going to win, you know. So
I actually have an interesting fact about that group. Actually, remember the seeding videos that we used to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually went for the seed in 6, and I actually picked J as what group I would have got in, and I literally got told I lost out by 20 seconds to Teal.
Oh yes, because Ratchet 5 was obsessed with seeds at this point in time. Now I wonder
you're disgusted by them, apparently.
I was disgusted by them. Ratchet 5 loved them. I wonder if let me see if the other wikis have the draw times for this tournament, because I would be fascinated to find out if we had hard draw times for I'm A Speedrunner 6, because I think I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna prepare notes ahead of time for the next part, but we're gonna talk about draws, and I'm gonna like bring up all the various like random draw times that they used to have. It's not on the wiki. Jeez, where is it?
This also affected the IAS6 grand final, if I'm not mistaken, where I think, Connor, I remember you were counting down for the draw time, like the first one. And we should probably mention that, and I'm not saying it because I won, like I said, but it's what happened was Rabbit missed a mystery jar, and he ended up catching up with me a little bit to where it looked like he had drawn. And then you'll hear me in the video go like, oh, well, yeah, this is so much fun, we'll just do it again. Like, I was totally for it, like, it was no bother. But then after the fact, as it turned out, Rabbit then looked at his footage, he's like, oh no, you won flat out, I missed a mystery jar. And I said, oh, well, we'll just do another final anyway. Yeah. Which, 10 years later, I was like, you know what? Maybe I really just won that tournament flat out, like, and I actually got it retconned. I was like,
I think you should have won it flat out. And so the annoying thing about I'm A Speedrunner 6 is that it has two winners, but the lineal champion goes to Rabbit. Yes. So it's annoying because of that. So basically the premise is that the first grand final resulted in Al winning and Rabbit not doing the goal correctly, and then everyone else was like way behind anyway. Then the second rematch resulted in Rabbit winning. Much to my... it really actually pissed me off that he won, because he was getting insufferable around this time when it came to like tournament performances. He was very insufferable. He put a lot of stock into how well you did in tournaments, and he just... I actually really liked that he didn't win IAS5, because I thought if he won IAS5, he would have just been like... I could not have handled being around him. But then he didn't win, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Then he goes on to actually like come close to winning, and he didn't win, and Al won. Now, if you had just said, no, that's it, no rematch, which you were probably entitled to do, I wonder how things would have turned out, because I think you should have been the true champion of I'm A Speedrunner 6, in fairness.
Ratchet was part of the party convincing me to do a rematch too, because he also... Well, to be fair, he and Andrew, you may remember this. You apparently either told, no, but this is on Ratchet for not knowing when the grand final was. Apparently, you had told him that the grand final was to take place on a different day to the one that it was actually going to take place on.
Here's the crazy thing, and now that I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, I wonder if this does not affect my mindset at all, because it says this is on the old wiki or whatever fandom. It says Ratchet 5 was told by CrystalFissure that the match was taking place on the 17th of January, but it was actually taking place earlier than that. 17th of January is my birthday. So maybe I thought we are going to be getting a birthday speed run I'm going to be doing, and then all of a sudden we're not. Maybe that's another reason why I was annoyed. I don't know.
I honestly get how Ratchet 5 didn't even know.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Connor. Like, what? How did you know? How
does the host of the tournament not know when it's grand final? You decide when you're the host when the final takes place.
So on that basis, he didn't know when he did the original grand final, he wasn't prepared or whatever, and then Luke's game crashed. So then Ratchet, at the end, you'll hear it in the end of it. He says like, "Oh well, look, you drew I wasn't prepared. Luke's game crashed. So we'll just redo it."
I remember that. Yes.
And so I felt kind of disarmed from even saying, well. And in that video, though, I thought that Rabbit and I had drawn. So that's another thing that's important. And then finding out after the fact, I really couldn't. After the fact that he had actually not done the goal correctly, and actually because his run was void, therefore, I didn't feel as though I didn't feel the desire to be fair to be like, no, okay, that means I win. And then secondly, though, I don't think I wanted to, because I probably knew it would cause like a lot of issues. So in hindsight, I think I am glad that I just said, yeah, we'll just redo it. I think that was fun. But to be honest, I think I was also a bit cocky because I thought I'd win again. Like that's another thing. I was very cocky. Like not outwardly. I don't think I was outwardly, but inwardly I was like, yeah, I'll beat them again. Like I'm really good. Which, granted, I came second and then the other one, but fucking Asian Zero challenge fucked me over.
I'm just gonna say it. If this happened like more recently, or even if this didn't happen in that exact tournament, this would have been a bigger controversy than it was. It's just like I'm surprised that the IAS6 Grand Final isn't as controversial as it has turned out to be. I think everyone just accepted the thing, did the rematch, and moved on. But in my opinion, like, it should be one of those things that we like write big paragraphs about and we get upset about. But it just wasn't for some reason. I don't know what deemed it to be any worse. Could it be that doing a rematch would have been in Ratchet 5's best interest as well? Do you think that might have been, a little bit like self-motivated by any chance?
Yeah, probably. But he was right though. He wasn't prepared, so I did take him at face value, and I still do. But I'm sure. I mean, naturally, there's that element as well. But do you know what? What I will say to you is that late 2011, early 2012, I was going through, I think, a good period in my life. I don't remember what was happening, but I just remember having a nice period in my life. As I said, I can't tell you what was going on, but I just think I did. I think that I was happy with my personal life, and that really does affect, I think, how you act online as well. Like, I think that's to this day you'll see that too, and I think that was genuinely a big element as to why I was like, whatever, like this is all just a bit of fun at the end of the day. I was not as like I was try hardy in the sense that I wanted to win the tournament, because absolutely I did, but I didn't care enough to be like, oh well, fuck yous all, I'm no rematch, like I win. Like I was like, like I'm happy, things are good now, like fuck it, let's do it again. Because I genuinely really enjoyed that first grand final call. I said it in the race itself, and I'll say it again. Like that was great crack, and I just wanted to do it all over again. I was like, let's do it again. Yeah, that was great fun. So yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so then Rabid Wombat JL won and became the lineal champion, going until I'm a Speedrunner 7. But yeah, like I think CrystalFissure is right. Like we'll put a big stamp in I'm a Speedrunner 6 and say, that was the end of an era, if you ask me. Like, that was the true end of one era and the kind of beginning of the next. Because in my recollection, and we'll all talk about this in the next one, the 2011 community to the 2012 community was a very, very different place. And I think you can almost pinpoint it to, and let's bookend this. We opened with talking about Mr. 100% Gamer. We kind of end with him. We didn't talk about him a lot in between, but he was there. He was there, and then he was gone. And with him left a big chunk of things, and left Ratchet 5 basically in charge of everything. There was no claim to anyone else to be the co-host of any of the previous tournaments. He was gone. He not long after deleted his channel and moved on with his life, and that left Ratchet 5 as the only guy in charge. And for better or for worse, that happened, and that changed everything, in my opinion. And the way that the tournaments run were after that were, we talk about shaggin' wagons, we'll talk about the absurd draw times, we'll talk about people getting through in very bizarre ways, we'll talk about me especially in I'm A Speedrunner 7 getting a million second chances. So yeah, I just think like, you know, in closing, like we'll all just like, I guess, briefly sum up 2011, and I'll just say, you know, 2011 was my sort of like senior year of high school. It was my last year of high school. This is the shirt I'm wearing. I was probably wearing this exact same shirt in a lot of calls from 2011. And honestly, it was one of the most memorable years of my life. And I just remember it's so dense. Like I could do 5 episodes just about 2011 on this podcast, because like I just think about the inside jokes. I think about the characters. Like there are so many people we haven't even talked about that we sort of cropped up with. Like who could forget like Leonhardt Gaming or Ricky Man 48 or any of these people.
Ricky will be important in the next part, actually.
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah.
The hacker.
But yeah, like it's just 2011 to me was a fantastic time. Like, you know, 2010 was the start of things. 2011 was really like the elevation of the community and I'm gonna say it, you know, as a kind of like sort of socially reclusive sort of teenager, the online community that we were part of was my biggest social outlet. Like I didn't really see a lot of people like, you know, after school or on the weekends. This like community was a big hub of social like you know, social output for me. So I guess in that regards, I really, really enjoyed 2011, for better or for worse, for the controversies, for the cyberbullying, for the overreactions, for the memes, for the everything. I just really enjoyed it. So I'll pass the baton to CrystalFissure here, and you can sort of give your final thoughts.
On 2011?
Yes, the whole year.
It's the same thing, because basically, you know, I started high school. So you finished high school and I started high school. And so for me, you know, the first few months were getting used to going to a school after going to an all-boys school, going to a school with girls. And so there was like this massive adjustment period in my real life. And then on that, I had such a good time with IAS3, and I loved meeting all of these new people in 2010 and 2009 and stuff like that, that, you know, it became, every single night, you know, on Skype, on a call, never wanting it to end, you know, from when I got home, or people would start to go, to when I went to bed. It was like the best time, you know, ever. Because the thing is, I was able to be in a sweet spot where I was never involved in any major drama. Anyone else that had done stuff had kind of done it, and I was kind of like on the sidelines. So that's what obviously paints 2012, 2013 in a different light. But so for me, you know, very much enjoyed 2011, but recognized that events in there ensured that the community as we knew it would never last. Like, I know that kind of sounds ominous, but that's sort of how it works. You know, we basically people did things that ensured that IAS6 was truly the end of a particular era. And then 7, even more so, with a massive exodus that we clearly want to tease and want to talk about, but we can't yet. Next episode.
Well, just quickly before we move to Connor's thoughts, I will say that like this was the end of an era. Was I'm A Speedrunner 6 to me. I'm A Speedrunner 7 was the continued decline of the era. I don't think it was the start of a new era. I think it was a continued decline.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we'll keep talking about too. But yes, Connor, your thoughts about 2011 from a viewer turned competitor turned very close confidant of us.
I think 2011 was a good time to come in, watch. I think I came in tournament at the right time, because IAS6 I think had that good vibe to it. Yes, there was like the tryhardness, but still had a good vibe to it. Like it was still it was a great tournament, and I was like Conley, like, you know, even though there was drama going on, I'd be in the sidelines. I wouldn't directly be involved in it. So I had a great time with the tournament in 2011. I think it was excellent from a viewing point of view, and finally getting to compete as well and meeting new people as well. It was fantastic.
Very good. And finally, Al Molloy, your thoughts?
yeah, it was a great year in hindsight. There's a like that Michael Myers video is one of the funniest things I think I've ever produced, and that happened in 2011. So I was happy about that. I felt, I guess in hindsight, I had a really kind of weird year of redemption tournament wise, since IAS3 ended in acrimony and then IAS6 ended with me. I know we kind of retconned it later, but I still got a tournament victory under my belt, so that was kind of cool in hindsight. So that happened. I think it was really cool as well. I think to become good friends with Rabbit, with Matt. Again, good friends with yourself by the end of the year, Angus. I felt like I really became close confidants more than just kind of like out of like random internet friends, but like close confidants with Yi. So from a personal perspective, that was really cool as well. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun, honestly, for me personally. Anyway, I look back on that year very fondly, and I think that IES6 was, yeah, very much like a kind of like a tying the of the knot, not tying the knot. That's like marriage. What's the like closing the loop? Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, close the
for
loop.
for me personally, anyway, for like my arc in a sense. Before we then went on to IES7.
Oh,
So,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely for an arc. Like,
And
I mean, it was, yeah.
Christian wants to add too. Christian wants to add as well, just because he's in the thing that that one, he wishes he's in this episode, and that that those 3 a.m. calls were like his rock, and he had anxiety from uni and stuff like that, and so it made him feel a lot better. I mean, I think it helped pretty much everyone.
He
Some
also, he
people
also
would not give you that.
shares this with us too, this wonderful image.
Yeah, and he
From 1984, the movie.
And he also wanted to mention community monopoly. Let's save that till later because that's actually more to do with community events from.
Community
later
monopoly,
on.
but
So,
yeah, those honestly, yeah, like you can't put into words how great those like calls that would just go on for 6 hours were. Like I would just like I remember starting a call at like 3 in the afternoon or something. Crash Bandy Spyro 12 would be starting a call. Then he'd go to sleep or something. The call would stay on. The British guys would come in. Then you'd have them around for a while, and then Al would come along, and then Connor would come along, and then we'd all go to bed, and then I'd wake up in the morning, and I'd leave my laptop on overnight, and I'd see there's a call still going, and it's like, oh, I wish I could join, but I gotta go to school.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, those 12-hour calls, like especially on the weekends too, it was just a time that you could never replicate because something happened in 2012. I can't quite figure it out. Like it was just not meant to be.
It was not meant to be, but again, I keep wanting to. We'll have to just save it for the next time. But
the OMG
it's not
pop
necessarily
calls, yes,
entirely a bad. It's not entirely a bad thing. Like I mean, a lot of us got closer as a result of these incidents. So the teaser, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, you're gonna fucking love the next episode because if you want it, now that you've known us a bit, you've had a coffee, you've sat down with us, we're really gonna dive into some politics, so to speak.
I think we've set the stage really well for the next part. We've kind of talked about the big players. We've talked about what constituted controversy in this time. Like what we've talked about in this part, the controversy, Stick getting pissed off, Meckle Monsieur, the IAS6 Grand Final. This pales in comparison to the stuff coming up. The heated nature of what's about to come is something that you have to stick around for. So if you've watched this whole thing, I thank you very much, and I can't wait for the next part. We're going to talk about I'm a Speedrunner 7 and I'm a Speedrunner 8, and we're going to really delve into those topics, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think...
Oh, and don't forget, I'm a noob runner, Angus. That one for a year, right?
Yeah, you know what? I would have talked about I'm a noob runner in our Me Too part, but but I don't really have much to put because that one kind of was a weird one I wasn't involved in. So we will...
you actually did sign up. You were in it, so... so yeah.
Sorry.
You absolute scum.
I'm scum. I'm subhuman scum. Anyway, with that, I will leave that there. I will say thank you for watching part 2 of our I'm a Speedrunner History podcast. Please speedrun over to the subscribe button and click the bell notification to stay notified. I've been Nintendo Gen 64. We've had CrystalFissure, ConorDavid, and Al Molloy, and we will all see you in the next part. So thank you very much for watching, and farewell for now, but not forever.